came in the room, and he came over and he said, "Michelle, I have some terrible news for you." He said, "Cass died."
Hi, everybody. Jesus is my rock, and that's how I roll. Welcome to another episode of California Preachin Honestly Speaking. And today I have such an amazing human being. So this person literally knows more about my life than I know about my own life. And his name is Richard Campbell. Welcome, Richard Campbell.
Thanks, China. Great to be with you, friend.
Well, Richard wrote a book called Getting Kinda Itchy. I know it's probably hard to see because it's on a thingy-wingy. This book is incredible. I've just started reading it and I am just fascinated. So tell me, what inspired this book, Richard Campbell?
That is a 40-year answer because I have been fascinated by the group that your parents were in, and Cass Elliot and Denny Doherty joined them in for 40 years, since I was 15 years old. I think everybody likes to know, but what happened first? What came before? And then all of the folklore of the mamas and the papas, these backstories, I don't think have ever been given their due.
Stars shining right above you.
Everybody, welcome Owen Elliot Kugell. Owen Elliot Kugell is one of my dearest friends. I'm so excited to have her here today with Richard Campbell. Both of them definitely know more about my history than I know about my own history, which is kind of scary and kind of sad all at the same time. You've got this amazing memoir coming out. Owen's book will not have been released when this comes out, but it will have been announced. So I'm allowed to say that the title of her book is, and I want to give you the privilege of telling the world what the title of your book is.
I'm calling the book My Mama Cass because it's my version of my mom's story.
Such a great title. I mean, what better title could you have come up with? It's just so brilliant.
Perfect.
I love it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really
was actually a working title, and it just stuck.
Richard, did you have conversations with Owen during the time she was writing this book? How did that
Constantly.
go? Tell us, well, Richard.
We have each other on speed dial for these kinds of things.
Yes.
And when I was writing my book, we were matching notes, and sometimes we were simpatico in terms of where we were. Like I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sort of at a big 3 place in my book." But yes, right. we would say, "Hey, do you remember when we talked to them 20 years ago?" Or Owen would say, "Is this right? Or do we know who took this picture? We just did that recently with the picture of David Crosby." You know? Yeah, we're still doing it.
We're still doing that. It's not over. Yeah.
So it's a little bit like your cousin trying to figure out your genealogy, I feel like, and I'm that person in my real family and in my, adopted family. I feel like it's just like, wait, where are they in the Rolodex? I mean, I do that with your mom and I do it with Denny's kids. So, I mean, it's fun, but yes, we definitely match notes, didn't we, Owen? I like to get things right. And certainly in Owen's mom's story, there are things that we for 30 years now have worked really hard to make sure that that accuracy is there, that
or aren't there for that matter.
Exactly, and so you can't. That's why Getting Kinda Itchy has 600 footnotes. I was determined to demonstrate that this is substantiated. This isn't just folklore.
When my mother did her second appearance in Las Vegas in the early 70s, she was doing a show at the Flamingo Hilton. And after that show was over, Elvis Presley was playing. Where was Elvis playing? Harrah's?
I think he was there too.
Was he at the same hotel?
Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, after the show, my mom ended up going up to his hotel suite. He invited her to go up there. There's actually audio from, I guess my mother must have gone to that last show, Richard.
Yes.
Went to that last show because someone sent me some years ago the audio where Elvis recognizes my mom in the audience, or he's been told that she's in the audience that night, and he says, "Well, Lord have mercy, that's Mama Cass."
Perfect.
And so I guess she went up to his hotel suite after his show. And he would stay up, I guess, very late at night and play music and wind down.
For one of
Yeah.
these guys, the Imperials, his name is Sherman Andrus, and he had just joined the group, and his wife is the one that took the pictures. But he said that they were singing hymns or gospel songs, and that Owen's mom at first was like, why, probably like, why are we singing this to
What
wind
is
down?
it? What is it that makes you want to sing these songs
Yeah. And
over and over and over again? Like, she just didn't understand it. And he said, well, have you ever sang one of these songs with a choir like this backing up? And she said no. And he went, well, you should try it. And they did it, and she sang, and after it was over, she was like, oh, wow. Like, I get it now. Like, she felt the emotion of singing with, some really amazing gospel singers.
And I think she might have felt the Holy Spirit working in her life in that moment. Just saying.
What a beautiful thing that would be to have, though, Elvis and Cass Elliot singing Amazing Grace. Can you imagine?
Wouldn't that be great?
Hi, my eternal friends. I pray you are enjoying this video. I just wanted to remind you that if you have not subscribed to California Preachin, please do. It's totally free, and it'll keep you up to date with every single video that I post. Thank you so much for all your support, and here is the link. I can only imagine, Owen, that you would feel very protective of your mother, since your mom's not here to sort of defend herself or speak for herself. I would imagine that you must feel a real, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but like responsibility to be her voice. And is that true?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's really kind of one of the main reasons I wanted to tell her story, because she's not here to tell it herself. And, it's easy to be reduced to an urban legend, reduced to an urban legend. I mean, like anybody, like, that's a terrible thing in some ways, but I mean, the whole ham sandwich thing, that part of her urban legend, that was something that I had to do my best to debunk.
Yeah, for the record, Cass Elliot did not choke on a ham sandwich. Okay, so what do they think actually did happen?
Well, she had a heart attack. She died in her sleep. She had a heart attack. She had stayed up all night the night before and just burned the candle at both ends. And by the time she got home, she got in her bath. Well, her one of her background singers had been staying with her, and when she got home, it was like 4 or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, the day after she closed her show at the Palladium. And she got home, and there was nothing in the refrigerator except some ham and some Coca-Cola, and she was hungry. So he told me, he said, I made her a sandwich and I poured her a Coke and I put it in her bedroom on the table. She was in the bath. He said, and I went and got ready to leave and go out for the night because he had plans. And when he left, she was asleep. And he could tell she was asleep because he heard her snoring. And the door was open, the TV was on.
There were some harbingers and some indicators in 1974 leading up to her mom's death, which all the more buttresses the fact that she died of a heart attack. She'd had several sinking spells, these sort of, we don't know if they were, preliminary heart attacks or seizures or something, but it's, if you go back and kind of do the timeline again with newspaper accounts and that sort of thing, we've said, look, this is pretty clear. There's something happening.
Didn't we figure out that she was hospitalized how many times? Like 4 times or something in the past year in the last year of her life?
Right.
Gosh.
Nobody realized that something wasn't right.
Right.
We would today.
Right.
I think we would today.
So, Owen, you've been dedicating the past few years of your life to writing this book. And I was so impressed when you told me that you didn't even have a ghostwriter. I was like, how are you doing this all by yourself? And I just want you to know that I am so moved by the dedication and that you persevered, you haven't given up. And I know there had to have been days where you were like, I can't do this. You've always been so articulate and you've always been able to tell a good story. And I think you get that from your mom.
Probably.
And yeah,
There wasn't an epiphany for me on a personal level, but I had an epiphany for her on a personal level.
so it truly helped you understand your mother on a deeper level. It helped you understand what she was walking through, how she was navigating things.
Yep.
Maybe even like, you know, the drugs or the eating or the relationships or the lack of.
All of it. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, understanding why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm here because she wanted somebody who was gonna never leave her.
I just know this book is going to touch so many people, Owen, and I'm so
thank you. And so the deal is that if people want to go and pre-order it, it's on all of the facilities. It's on the Barnes and Noble, and it's on the Amazon and the thing, and it's My Mama Cass, and you can pre-order it and make my publisher really happy that people actually want to read this thing. And it comes out May 7th, 2020.
yeah. And there's a link to the book in the description of this video if you're interested in getting it, which I think you should.
Sounds
I love
good
you
to me.
so much.
Love you too. I'll see you guys later.
See ya.
I love you. So now, such an exciting part of this Zoom call. I'm so excited to be able to introduce this fabulous, most amazing woman who actually gave me life and gave me breath. And I just cannot believe that no matter how many times I sit down and talk to her, she's always got another story to tell that I've never heard before. And I just love that about her so much. Everyone, please welcome the legendary Michelle Phillips. Mommy, where are you?
Hey.
Mommy, dearest.
Hey, honey.
Hi, Michelle.
What is your last memory of Cass, where the two of you were together before she passed away?
Well, the last memory is the night before she died. She called me from London and she was crying, saying, I have never been so happy. I've sold out every show at the Palladium and I'm getting standing ovations at every show, and I've made it on my own and I'm so happy. And that was the last conversation we had. I was having lunch with David Geiler, who is a producer. Larry Gordon, who produced Dillinger, came in the room and he came over and he said, Michelle, I have some terrible news for you. He said, Cass died. And it was just so horrible and shocking. I remember I got up and the chair behind me just went behind me, and I went outside and I sat there's a garden there in front of the commissary, and I sat underneath the tree and just cried my eyes away.
Oh my gosh, that is so sad, because you two really were, you had such a special friendship. I think that it would be safe and fair to say that it was, all friendships are unique and different, but this was an extraordinary connection that the two of you had. And it was, I would say, maybe set apart from every other friendship you had, right? It was very different.
When you have a relationship like we had together, where we're working together and we're creating together and we're listening to playbacks together and going, oh my God, can you believe it? It sounds so beautiful. And then to have the success, to experience the success together, and you know, to experience going from poverty to having anything we wanted. it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's quite a trip.
Michelle, it had to have been a really welcoming thing for you when you've been in this folk world with the journeyman and even the new journeyman, when you're the one girl, to all of a sudden have a partner, more or less. And I mean, you know, it just had to, it really did change the dynamic, but it had to have also been incredibly empowering. And it was a bit revolutionary then too, because as I think she once said, you were really the first sexually integrated major group in American music.
Yeah. And she was wonderful to sing with because she had such a range. I had a very small voice, especially at the beginning of the Mamas and the Papas. But compared to her, I always had a small voice. John was always saying to her, "You've got to blend with Michelle. You've got to try to blend," because she was just used to being that big voice out front. You know, she was a soloist. She sang big, and she had to learn how to sing with me, and I had to learn how to sing with her.
In a coffee house, Sebastian sat, and after every number they passed the hat.
And sometimes I would say, I can't do that part, John. And Cass would say, "Oh, go ahead. Let's try it. You know I'm going to make it." So, you know, she gave me confidence to go for the note. And that she helped me become a singer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wasn't really cut out for being a singer. And I had never had any ambition to be a singer.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I was singing with Cass, it was fun.
I have a question for you. When Wilson Phillips took off, was it a surprise to you that Carney and Wendy and I ended up being in a girl group together?
What surprised me most was that you had the beginning of your acting career and you were doing so well. When you walked in to this dining room, you said, "I'm forming a group with Carney and Wendy. We're going to sing." I said, "Well, what about your acting?" "I don't want to act." And you didn't really want to do it.
I think that if I had been represented properly, I could have done the one thing there and the one little amazing little part there, and, you know, one movie a year or something, where I could have maintained my acting career and my singing career. But I don't know. I guess everything happens the way it's supposed to and unfolds the way it's supposed to. And it's never too late, Mama.
Yes, it is.
No.
You sang the 8 bars and you sounded incredible. The three of you just had such an amazing blend. And I said, "Sing me something else." And you said, "Well, that's it. That's all we have." And I said, "You can't expect to get a producer when all you have is 8 bars of a song." And you said, "Oh, Mom, it's quite enough. Just get us a producer." So really, almost as a joke, I called Richard Perry and off you went. And I didn't hear from you. A couple of hours had gone by. And so I called Richard and I said, "Well, what'd you think?" He said, "Well, you know, they only sang 8 bars of the song for me." I said, "Well, I told them they had to work up some material." "Okay, I'm going to sign them anyway."
Hi, Mama.
Hi, sweetie pie.
Hi, dear. Mwah.
We
Happy to
are
see you.
so happy that you're popping in to say hi.
Yeah.
You love hearing these mamas and papas.
Every time I
stories.
talk to your mother, I get another story.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You're
I
turning like
remember,
the ice
I
man.
remember 32 years with this family, and I was having a conversation with Michelle in her kitchen or on our front porch like less than a year ago. And somehow we came on the topic of Orson Welles, and she just blurts out like, "Oh yeah, I remember that time he offered China that part in that movie." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, when he offered the part, China that part of the movie." I'm like, "Who?" And you said Orson Welles. I'm like, Orson Welles offered my wife a part in a movie, and I'm just finding this out now, 30 something years. Yeah, well, where did you run into him at like La Dome or something? Where did you see him?
We were Ma Maison.
Oh, right.
China and I had gone to lunch. China was about 8 or 9. I could see her gaze kind of go over to the side, and she says, "Mom, look, there's the wine guy."
They will sell no wine before
So
it's
it's time.
And I practically put my hand over her mouth. And, "If you ever say that again, that is Orson Welles. And don't ever refer to him as the wine guy." And at the end of our lunch, Orson came over and sat down.
And Orson offered China a movie to play the child lead in his film when she was 8 years old, and they turned him down. We shall sell no wine before it's time. We shall cast no daughter of Michelle Phillips before her time.
Well,
Good day.
Good day. We love you. Thank you for popping in to say hi. Have fun. So one last question, and then I'll let you go, Mama, because I know we've been on for a while, but we have to just ask you a couple of questions about Knots Landing, because you have so many Knots Landing fans out there, so many. And I think that there are a lot of people who don't realize that if it weren't for me, you would have never been on Knots Landing. I'm just kidding. I know you. But
may have been, but you were actually you were actually a very important part of me getting the part, because China went in to read for the part that Nicolette Sheridan eventually got, and she read beautifully, and I'm not surprised because she was really a good actress. And but they said, "Look at her, she's so young." And the stuff that they wanted her to do, the character, was just, it was just, you were just too young to play that part. And because they used to joke about it, and they'd say, "Wouldn't it be funny if we cast China and then we could get her mother to come in and play her mother? How's that?" And they thought, "That's great," but they couldn't cast you. So then they got Nicolette, and then they started writing the part for the mother, and they looked at Nicolette and they said, "Hey, Michelle can still play the mother." Look at so I was just so pleased that David Jacobs, who was the executive producer of the show, called and said he'd like to take me to lunch. And at lunch, he said, "Listen, we've written a part for you, and we'd like to know if you'd do it." I said, "I've got to be honest with you. I've never, ever seen the series, not one show." He says, "That's okay. We'll send you the last 2 weeks on a cassette, and then you can watch it tonight," because it was Thursday night. And by Friday morning, I called my agent and I said, "Yes, I want to be on the show. It's so great. It's so well written, and it's
so fun."
Yeah, and they were already in their 8th season. I mean,
Mom, it's amazing that you were a successful model. You were in a successful folk group. You were in a mega successful, breakthrough, groundbreaking, phenomenal group, the Mamas and the Papas. And then you starred in one of the greatest hit TV shows of all time. And it's just, you've really slayed, girl. You've slayed.
And then I was China Phillips's mom. I have a lot of great things that have happened to me in my life. And
Mom, that's such a sweet thing to say. I love you so much. And I'm so grateful to God that he chose you to be my mama. And I just am so grateful that you're sharing these stories with me, Mom, and they never, ever get old. And I love hearing the ones that I've never heard before. It's crazy. And
amen to that.
Yeah, amen to that. And thank you for taking the time today, Mama, to talk to us. And I know everybody's going to be so excited here in the Cal Preach community to have another amazing, awesome interview with you. And you're just thebomb.com, Mom.
I love that. Thank you, darling. Thank you very much.
I love you. And Richard, thank you so much. You are a Mamas and Papas historian, and you're a judge, like a real life, true judge, which is so cool. And we're so grateful. Our family is so grateful for all of the minutia that you know about our family, and you help us put all the little pieces together, because we really are like the Paris subway. There's so many of us, and there's so many stories, and it's just like impossible to keep up, but you help us keep it all filed and archived, and we thank you for that.
Thank you. I love it. And your mom said that when I finished the book. She said, you've taken the puzzle and you've put it back together, and I really appreciated that. So thank you. I appreciate it. It's always fun to be together.
It's true. And if you would like Richard Campbell's book, it is in the description of this video. It getting kind of itchy, and I pray that you all have a beautiful evening and peace of Christ. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hi, my eternal friends. I pray that that video blessed you. I wanted to remind you that California Healing is going strong. We have 100 ladies in these groups that we have formed, and there are 3 meetings right now that are going super strong, and we would love for you to join one of them. You can get a 1 free drop-in if you fill out the interest form that is in the description of this video, and it is also pinned at the very top of China's comments. And I'm going to read to you the dates and times of these live Zooms that I hope you will pop into and attend. A live Zoom call every Saturday in the Promises group. It starts at 11 a.m. PST, and that would be 2 p.m. Eastern. Then we have another live Zoom call on Tuesdays in the Identity group. Identity group meets at 9:30 a.m. PST and 12:30 p.m. EST. All right, then we have the Revelation group. That's on Thursdays. Revelation is 9:30 a.m. PST, and Revelation is 12:30 p.m. EST. All right, so please get your 1 free drop-in, and I pray that we see you there. Get your Godversations on, get your healing on. Peace of Christ.